And we are rolling. This is take one and action.
Hi, I'm Karina Maxwell, and I'm real happy to be here on this day at the Poetry Society of America to talk about my new book, a novel titled Stanley. Stanley is about Stanley Ann Dunham Sotero, who was an American anthropologist who passed away in 1995. She also was the mother of President Barack Obama. She, as you might notice, she did not get to be here when he won the presidency. She was instrumental as an anthropologist abroad in Indonesia for her work on microfinance loans. And what she did was she made these loans, she was part of a team, and she made these loans available for people who worked in cottage industries who didn't make a lot of money. So she had that passion, and that same passion I have. And that's what attracted me so much to writing about her. The motivation, people ask me, what motivated me to do this? I can see that you're laughing about it, but it's really, we get motivated writers in different ways. But my own mission has always been to, I'm attracted to a change in consciousness, and she definitely, a small drop at a time, she made a contribution through helping people get a better life through these loans. What I did is I went ahead and I wrote Stanley the novel. And it's about the last year of her life in 1995, and fictitiously I created a family around her. A great Indonesian family with wonderful stories and a lot of strife in their own way. Like she was named Stanley, and you might have wondered about that already. A lot of people have, and I was quite interested when I first started to write about Stanley, and even now as I speak to people, that they didn't know that her name was Stanley, that she was named after a boy. Well, her father wanted a son, and so he called her Stanley. And at least she got the Ann in there, and from what I understand, she really referred to herself as Ann as she got older. But for the purposes of this novel and identity, I chose Stanley, to call her Stanley, and she did the things she did to show that she was capable, in spite of having been named a boy. Yeah, do you want to ask me something? You wondering about how long it took? Well, it took me about a year to write this, but I had been formulating it like a lot of writers do in my head. We do that. We walk around, we have ideas, and then finally one day we sit down and we say, I'm going to do this. So that's what happened. When I sat down and did it, I was ready. And when I started reading about her and researching about her, I couldn't stop. Many times I am still moved by her story, and I try hard not to cry. She was an incredible woman, and so I had the honor of writing about her, and with this family that I created, she was able to create another identity about herself and then get into the other people with identity issues, even though it never comes up as such. The family consists of 4 people, this family that she got very close to. The young man who is pivotal in the story, his name is Bintang, and Bintang means star. And when I first picked it out, I wasn't really sure of why I was picking that. And then as I developed him as a character, it became clear to me that he really was a star, and he was the star inside of all of us, even Stanley. And then the daughter, Melati, and her name means jasmine, and she's if you ever had jasmine tea, it's a little bitter. It's quite delicious and quite interesting and memorable, as she is. And she's a really outspoken young woman, 15 years old, and she really lets her father, who's a staunch Asian type man, let him know where it's at. And then we have the lovely mother, Nadari. Nadari means full moon, and indeed she is a full character and a full caring woman. And then we have the father, Rahman. Rahman means blessed, and he really is blessed because he actually he owns his own, what they call a parapin, where it's like a blacksmithing, it's like a shed or a shack, how we would see it in America, like that. And he has all these workers, and they do metal work. And he also has some farming, but the metalwork is the main industry in this story. And that's in fact what she went after. She went after getting microfinance loans for non-agricultural production. They were already in place for the rice and the corn and the Gaia and whatever else was growing in the fields. But because the blacksmiths were not considered a viable and a real business and worthwhile, she stood up for them and she went after that. And that, in turn, enabled the families to not have to, over time, not have to employ or keep the younger children working in the family business, sometimes as early as 5 years old. But that has changed. Percentage-wise, I think it's about 15% of young children who don't have to go and work in the family business today as a result of this great opportunity that she was part of. Stanley was, again, this is based on a year of her life, and she did quite a lot in a year, and in the end, well, I'm not going to give away the end, but she made a big difference. And in fact, recently in real life, when it was realized that she was the mother of the president, the community over there in Indonesia, Jakarta, were quite surprised and quite pleased and remembered her for her good nature. She was very benevolent. She gave money. She gave books. She made sure that children were able to go to school. She provided rice for one family. There's actually one story where that's quite well known. And so motivation, it didn't take much to get me motivated, because I believe, you know, I have the heart of a social worker, so it gave me a lot of joy to get the word out further about this great American woman. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to ask about Stanley and the journey that it took?